This broadcast right here was the main reason Tucker Carlson got fired.
Coming to Tucker Carlson tonight, sometimes you wonder just how filthy and dishonest our news media are. You'll be in the shower and you'll think they're bad, but how bad are they? Well, here's one measure of their badness. You can try this at home. Ask yourself, is any news organization you know of so corrupt that it's willing to hurt you on behalf of its biggest advertiser?
Imagine a world where you can't buy anything without permission, where every daily choice you make is monitored and logged into a database controlled by the leaders of your nation. A world where you could be forced to buy the things your government wants or blocked from purchasing the things it doesn't. A world where your money may no longer be a tool of personal freedom, and instead one that could be used to control your every decision, action, and move. Well, that world may be closer than you think. In fact, in many ways, it's already here. What if the government didn't just have access to your transactions over a certain limit, and they had access to everything all the time? Well, this is where CBDCs come in. A central bank digital currency is a new form of digital money. It's like cryptocurrency, but whereas crypto is decentralized and private, CBDCs are exactly the opposite. A CBDC would be completely owned and controlled by your government. They would hold your wallet, your money, and have access to all your financial data, including information on every transaction in your daily life. It would also make banks obsolete, as your account and wallet could be held by your government. Only a couple of years ago, CBDCs were considered hypothetical, but that is no longer the case.
That was completely unexpected. You almost have to laugh that, lady, why would I want to know where you are? I mean, really? Is that how I spend my time, is tracking you? In my overall situation, I have nothing to complain about. Somebody coming up to me on the street, which has happened sometimes, and saying that I've chipped them and I'm following them around, that's a total reversal doing that. Or, I own 1/4000th of the farmland in the U.S. and people have some view that somehow connect that. Yeah, 1/4000th of the farmland. But what can you do with 1/4000th share? At least in my math, I have a hard time pulling off a conspiracy unless you get up to at least 2 or 3 4,000ths. So I have people who track it, and we often think, which of these things should you respond to? If they get broad enough, then you want to respond. If they're just in the truly crazy niche, then probably you don't want to amplify it.
Have you heard of the island that disappeared? The Phantom Island Bermeja has this really interesting conspiracy theory. So this island was allegedly off the coast of the Yucatan in Mexico and was mapped all the way back in the 1500s and was included in maps from then all the way up till the 1940s. So in the 1990s, when Mexico wanted more territory for drilling oil, they set out to find this 30 square mile large island, but it seemed to have just disappeared. This led to a conspiracy theory about how the CIA somehow removed this island with explosives and leveled it to where it can't be found so that Mexico wouldn't get some of our oil territory. However, there's no proof that this is true other than this one senator in Mexico who's this big advocate for the island's existence, who died in a car crash like right after they couldn't find it. But most likely this island never existed, but was just a signature created by the map maker back in the day.
Wanted to talk to you about CERN. Is CERN learning anything from ancient Egypt?
CERN is the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. It's the largest machine in the world, located in Switzerland, and it's all underground, and it uses this gigantic track, this underground tube that's connected, and they send atoms in opposite directions and speed them up to a percentage of the speed of light and then let them collide. They analyze the collision to see what comes out of this collision between atoms. But something else they discover in the process is that they create microscopic black holes. In my opinion, again, this is nothing that I've read, but my hypothesis is that part of the work going on at CERN is to learn how to create stable wormholes. What Einstein and Rosen called an Einstein-Rosen bridge, where you take space and you fold it, punch a hole in between to make a connection, a shortcut through space-time.
Am I the only one, or has anyone else thought of why would the astronauts have their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? Why are they actors?
What do you believe to be the best hypothesis for why crop circles exist? What are they trying to convey? What is their purpose?
On my very first year and first trip to England, it was 1992. And I was out in one of the big patterns that left everybody awestruck because of the size and the perfection, no footprints. They were astonishing in 1992. And a man walked over to where I was, and he was making comments about, it's remarkable, isn't it? There's even 3 or 4 layers. There's braiding. And so we're now talking about the astonishing details in a formation. And then he said, well, you know, I know somebody who works for the Central Intelligence Agency. He told me that they're very interested in these crop formations and that they've got a satellite now that is trying to get satellite images of every crop formation that is happening on the world, because they are convinced that what we are dealing with is mathematical language from another intelligence that is using the crop formations to judge the accuracy of their travel in time.
So we're clear on the scale of the issue. Each electric vehicle battery for a heavy-duty truck weighs 8,000 pounds, and you need at least 2 of them. So we're talking the weight of, 4 or 5 cars. And my friends and peers in the industry nationwide who have tried to make efforts to put in, say, hey, I'm going to convert a dozen forklifts to electric, or I want to tee up a facility for 30 electric trucks. There's no power. The utilities come back, the cities come back and say, is this some kind of joke? One friend tried to put in Illinois a facility, tee it up for 30 trucks electrification. The city came back and said, this is some kind of joke. You're asking for more draw than the entire city requires. And just to give you an idea, 30, 50 trucks, that's like a 5-6 megawatt application. The factory that makes the trucks is a 2 megawatt.
Carol, the Santa Ana Watershed Project Authority, also known as SAWPA, a joint power authority spanning portions of Riverside, San Bernardino, and Orange counties, announced January 9th that it conducted its sewage cloud seeding event. The agency says that the 4-year weather modification program, which launched in November 2023, intends to evaluate the effectiveness of enhancing local water supplies through cloud seeding in the region. Cloud seeding involves infusing silver iodide mixed with acetone particles into the clouds during a storm, causing ice crystals to form and water to condense into rain or snow. SAWPA cloud seeded during 3 storms in the last week of December and the first week of January. While cloud seeding is not a new technology, first experiments took place in the 1940s. It fell out of favor in the 80s for being unacceptable ethically and an environmental hazard. Several unintended consequences from cloud seeding. A study in the UAE demonstrated that cloud seeding operations lead to an increase in urban flooding. Silver iodide is known to be toxic and is regulated under the Clean Water Act as hazardous substance. Studies have documented potential harms from bioaccumulation, particularly for aquatic life. Wow, and look at our county. You guys cloud seeded us on purpose?
Look at all these houses in Florida allegedly painting their roof blue. Blue, of all colors. Now, I know you've seen that video of that big green laser straight down. Look, it's fake. It's fake. It's the same person who did the Face by the Moon, same person who did the Old Man. They're all fake. If you go to his page, it's a whole bunch of CGI videos he makes himself. Now, there was a real green laser scanning the area I'm about to show you. But first, let's look at what Biden said in general.
Because if you fly over these areas that are burned to the ground, you'll see in the midst of 20 homes that are just totally destroyed, one home sitting there because it had the right roof on it. And anyway, since I took office, FEMA's provided Texas alone.
That is pretty weird, isn't it? Now let's look at the news report of the real green laser.
Pause. It's a plane flying low over people's homes, scanning the ground with that green laser. Welcome back. I'm Chris Safadi.
And I'm Lois Tomey. So what does this plane, what is it doing? Wake News anchor Annette Montgomery joins us in the studio. And Annette, what did you learn?
Chris and Lois, I learned who it's not after reaching out to everyone from the city of Cape Coral to the county, to the Florida Division of Emergency Management, to the South Florida Water District and Port Authority. Now, these low-flying planes with green lasers does not belong to them. One neighbor got so fed up, she purchased a flight radar to help narrow down the search for the owner.
And besides that, with that original green laser video being fake that everyone's saying was in Texas, it wouldn't have to be green. There's a lot of speculation about the colors. I'm about to show you a video real quick where allegedly a laser specialist says that the infrared laser is actually the most dangerous and you can't even see it in the first place.
Look at all those awesome laser beams. You know which one's the strongest? If you guess the green one, you're wrong. That's an infrared laser. Are you crazy, right?
Breaking news. This is the balloon that was just found in Alaska and delivered back to the government. I believe it's being taken to Virginia. Now, there's some things in here that I find that's very interesting. One is you can see the size of this. This is definitely something that's not a weather balloon, as you see here. But look at this, at the junk that's going on. You see that guy? He just spun that like a propeller, which is very interesting because people were able to see that when the balloons flew over America a little over a year ago. Also, watch this guy's hands of him picking up a cylinder piece, which is something that can go together with also this green stuff that's laying around. Now, I'm not able to show you, but if you were to zoom in on that, you can tell that that stuff is more than likely things of like a computer chip, your video cards that go into your computers. That's exactly what this type of stuff looks like. And there's a ton of this that is laying around in there. You see how there's even more that's back here. So it's interesting to what you're seeing here. The next thing is you can see that these poles are chopped up. So it makes me wonder if whoever was flying these over knew that this one dropped, came and took out the main part of it, and then was hoping that all of this stuff would sink. Next, pay attention to all these lines that are laying across here. So this is one of the balloons that was flying over last year, and this was taken by Dragon Lady. This is the wing, this is the shadow that's on the balloon. These are very large, but I want you to pay attention to the lines that are coming off of here. Those were likely to sit here and hold the stuff up, as well as tethered lines to sit there and hold it while this thing was being lifted off. But, as you see, that is possibly what all this white line is here. Now this thing looks like it could be the top, the bottom. I have no idea of what this contraption is that's attached to the balloon. I'll play the video so you can see it, but yeah, I just have no idea of what that is. So do you think that this is a different type of balloon, like a weather balloon? Do you think that this is one of those balloons that is taking place?
Okay, so don't you find it weird that yesterday, basically all the social media platforms went down globally? Meanwhile, Ryan Garcia, yes, the influencer blogger, it's quite random, but hear me out. He recently claimed that he was at the Bohemian Grove and he saw very explicit things that if released would completely break the internet. He said in this video that they took his phone, blocked his cards, etc.
Access to my Instagram. Taking advantage.
Which is very similar to what happened to this guy, just this time a bit more extreme. If you didn't know already, this guy has been going on a rampage for the last couple of days, posting and saying some very questionable things, and most people think he's crazy or on some sort of drugs. In fact, many of his tweets exposing stuff have already been deleted, and just a few hours ago he went on a voice call on Twitter exposing some of the things he has info on. But the girl he was with was trying her best to stop him from talking.
Oh, I don't give a bro. They held me down and they made. I don't give a anymore. Bohemian Grove is real because I have the information on the leaks and I can expose them. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I can show you proof every day.
So let's go. Ryan. He doesn't want to talk.
No, come on. Oh, it's dude.
I don't know about you, but if you had a very profitable boxing career where you're making millions, would you just start faking stories for views to put your reputation and life in danger? To me, it seems like there has to be some level of truth to what he is saying. Also, you gotta bear in mind, this guy has tens of millions of followers on social. So if he was to put out videos and share what he claims he saw, I think we all know what would happen. But what do you think about this? And if you watch his boxing fights, will he even make it to his upcoming one at this point?
Pyramids are not tombs. Change my mind. This is a real Egyptian tomb, you know, where mummies of pharaohs were actually found. Grand entrances, spacious hallways, lavish architecture, art and carvings everywhere commemorating their pyramids. And this is the burial chamber in the biggest tomb in the world, the Great Pyramid of Giza. A plain and uncentered granite box in a boring room with no carvings nor art, like anywhere in the entire pyramid. Oh, and no mummy was found here either. It was stolen by thieves who apparently took the hieroglyphs in the walls too. Here's an actual sarcophagus for a cat. And another one for a person. Here are a few more from the same time period as Giza, all covered with majestic carvings and hieroglyphs that were crucial for preparing bodies for the afterlife. And that's the sarcophagus in Giza, the biggest and most important tomb ever built. The pyramid itself is just awkward to navigate, with tight corridors and questionable architecture apparently designed to stop thieves. Meanwhile, the Valley of Kings is an absolute marvel, what you'd expect royalty to be buried in with no attempt at keeping grave robbers out. Oh, what's that? The Valley of Kings was made over 1,000 years after Giza, during which time I guess they learned how to carve and paint on the walls of tombs, despite there being hieroglyphs far older than Giza itself. Well, what about the tombs at Saqqara, which are as old as Giza, yet adorned with the carvings, architecture, and even statues that you'd expect from a sacred burial chamber? If tombs looked like this 4,500 years ago, why would the most important one ever built during the same time look like that?